and land usage consulting. Get to know your property. Call McAllister Land Consulting for a free quote today at 812-274-0860.
The world's biggest bourbon and music festival, Bourbon and Beyond 2024. A perfect blend of bourbon, culinary, and music with Zach Bryan, Dave Matthews Band, Tyler Childers, Neil Young, Beck, and Louisville's own My Morning Jacket, Matchbox 20, Cody Jinks, Maren Morris, The Head and Heart, Tedeschi Trucks Band, The National, Whiskey Myers, Chris Isaac, Young the Giant, Teddy Swims, Milky Chance, and more. September 19th through 22nd in Louisville, Kentucky. Single day and weekend passes, camping and hotel packages. On sale now at bourbonandbeyond.com.
This is a very special day. The breeze took the clouds all away. It swept the sky like a broom and got ready for a very special day. This is a very special time. Show me a hill I can climb. Give me a mountain to move, and I'll prove that it's a very special day. I woke up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet that life is all for living and love is all for giving. So this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way that this is a very special day. Up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big...
All right, good morning. We're here live on Coffee Club this morning, and we've got not a full house, but we've got a pretty good house. We've got Brad with us from Walmart, and Kevin Albertson and Derek Early from Salem Middle School. Welcome, guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Post Super Tuesday. We didn't have a primary here in Indiana. Ours is first Tuesday in May. So
in May, yeah.
We didn't have to worry about it. But,
yeah.
Also, Purdue got past Illinois last night, 77-71, and I think if Illinois would have had another good first half, Purdue might have lost that game, but they come back for the victory. And we got IU playing tonight. They play up at Minnesota. And you said that's the site of the Big Ten tournament up there, so okay. And that's be next week?
Yeah. Okay. Should be women's is this week.
Okay. I assume IU women's going to go deep in that.
They are the 3 seed.
3. Okay.
This year.
They've been doing well the last couple of years, so
yeah,
good deal. But tell us what's going on over at Walmart, Brad.
Just everything, I guess. Everything's coming together.
Getting
We've
ready
got
for
Easter. We've got Easter. We've got lawn and garden season is kicking off. Within the next couple of weeks, you'll start seeing some of the early outdoor plants. You already seen some, like the Easter flowers, things like that. But we're already ready to go with all the mulch, dirt, anything that you need for that. It's completely in stock. And canoes. We've got those in. So, but Easter candy. Anything that you need, all the stuff over in the bakery deli for entertaining and all of that. So,
yeah. And it'll be long before graduation, and
Yeah, we've already had some folks that are starting to figure out what they want to do for graduation, party wise, and it's always a good idea to get ahead of that.
Spring break's coming up.
Yeah.
You guys got any plans for spring break?
This year I'm staying home and trying to catch up with house stuff.
Okay.
There you go.
That's probably what
Yeah.
I'll do.
I'm headed to.
You heading out?
I'm heading out for spring break. Well, it's senior year,
Oh,
so
okay. Oh, okay.
gotta
Big senior
have
trip.
gotta have a trip. So,
Okay.
but don't forget St. Patrick's Day. We've got that coming
Yep,
up,
St.
so we
Patrick's
got
Day.
you covered there.
That's right before Mrs. White's birthday. So
Yes.
I remember one time we got a new Bible at church, and I was writing in it during the message, which I probably should have been doing. I accidentally wrote March 17th for her birthday, and I took a long time for that one to get forgiven.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, today we're going to be talking about everything going on over to Salem Middle School, and so what's big news over there?
Right now we're just kind of gearing down with our third 9 weeks, and ending up with our winter sports and getting our spring stuff rolling a little bit, which is always exciting because spring sports seems to be a really quick season.
Sure.
Spring break hits, it seems like the year's winds down really fast at that point.
Yeah.
We just competed. Mr. Early's here to talk about Natural History Day, which we
Okay.
had some kids that competed in and
Okay.
did pretty well in, and he's been running that now going on
4 years.
4 years. So we're pretty excited about how they've done and our kids and all the effort they put into it.
Yeah, it turned out pretty well. They did a nice job with it. It's always fun to see. They get involved, and they end up enjoying it a little bit more than what I think they initially planned to at the beginning. So
What's
fun to see
all
that
involved
process.
in the?
So NHD is a national competition in history for grades 6 through 12. It's 500,000 kids nationwide.
Oh, wow.
Several thousand teachers are involved in this process too. But for us, it starts at the school level, and then the competition begins regionally at Franklin College for the southern part of the state. From there, kids that advance out go to Marion University in Indy for the state competition, and then those that qualify out of the state go to the University of Maryland and compete at the national level. So it's a multi-layer competition. There's a theme each year that kids have to have their project based on. This year's theme was Turning Points in History, and it used to be where the topic was really narrow, and so it really kind of limited kids in what their options were. And it kind of seems like since COVID, the last 3 or 4 competitions, they've really kind of opened up what their theme of the year is, which gives kids a lot more kind of flexibility in what their topics can be. And so we had some pretty interesting topics. We had the smallpox vaccine, for example. We had one kid do the invention of plastics. We had Battle of Bunker Hill, the Wright brothers, Rosa Parks, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand to start World War I, and then we had one group do Christopher Columbus and the discovery of America. So we had topics all over the place, but each group really kind of dove headfirst into theirs and seemed to really learn quite a bit and really enjoy it.
How do they get to pick their own topics, or is that guided by maybe some of your classwork?
Actually, it's a kind of a free-for-all choice.
Okay.
It can pertain to exactly what we're talking about in class, or if they want to branch off and they have an interest of their own that they kind of want to dive into and learn a lot about, then we don't hold them back. We redirect some topics every now and then, but it's rare that I have to sit a group down and talk to them and kind of get them to go away from the topic that they want. Most of them are pretty good and pretty mature about picking a topic that they know that they can, number one, collect plenty of information about, but number two, something that they're legitimately interested in that's going to give them a little bit more incentive to do their best. So.
Yeah. Well, middle school's kind of the age where they're not so hard to. It's not like herding cats anymore. They're kind of starting to get a little bit little more maturity,
Yeah.
and so they're taking things. Are some of the kids in what grade? Is this all 3 grade levels, or is this
7th grade and 8th grade
seventh
honors classes are the ones that participate.
Okay, awesome.
So when they've formulated what they want to do, and just listening to your list, were you a little bit surprised about how far ranging? I mean, it's interesting to see there's so many different ways to go with that and different subject matter.
Yeah, and so we kind of do a lot of pre-planning on our own as a group in class. We talk about what turning points in history mean. We discuss like kind of key terms, definitions, and then we make a big list on the board, myself and the kids, as far as what are some broad-ranging topics. So what are turning points in history? What are turning points in certain battles or certain wars? And then we get into talking about turning points in music, sports, science, medicine, those types of things. That way it kind of gives them an idea to kind of open their eyes a little bit as far as what's out there, because I think they kind of you hear turning points in history and you immediately go to, well, Civil War, Revolutionary War, World War I, World War II, but they need to understand that the topic is also so broad that you can encompass a whole lot of different things.
Yeah.
And then when they get to the regional competition, they really do kind of see what other groups have done, and kind of the thinking that goes into History Day, and how you can tie a whole lot of different things into what a turning point history would be. And so that part's kind of fun.
And there's so many. I mean, if they wanted to do something World War II related, there's thousands of different.
Yeah. And Brad, to your point, I don't know that I was surprised as far as how wide-ranging the topics were. I was surprised at how fast my kids chose their topic, because it's usually something that you can spend 3 or 4 days on, because it's all group work. Generally speaking, I had two students do a solo project. The rest were all in groups, and by the end of day 1, middle of day 2, they were all bit on what their topic was going to be. And it's usually something that takes a group a lot longer, and so that part was interesting to me, that they had all come to their decision so quickly. But it also meant they got to get to work a lot faster too.
And how many is in a group?
We max it at 4. Yeah.
And is this a written project, or do they do multimedia? Or
yes and no.
Okay.
It kind of ties into a lot of different things. It's almost like it's kind of like a language arts and a social studies project combined. So all of our kids did big trifold exhibits, and with that, it encompasses, all the research you have to do for your topic. They want background information. They want information about what your research topic is, obviously, what was going on during that time period. But then they also have to find short-term and long-term effects of whatever their research topic was.
Okay.
So they dive into several different layers, and then there is a writing component to it. They do a thesis statement that they have to present with their project, a process paper which breaks down basically how their research went, how they put their project together, and then they have to do the annotated bibliography, which is their least favorite part of the entire project. But being able to cite your source, tell where it came from, where you got it, and then tell how you used it is what that means. But that's the most cumbersome part of it.
I'm assuming Wikipedia is not a valid source anymore.
Right. Depending on
If
what
it
you're
ever was.
looking up, we try to steer them clear of that. But it's nice. NHD, they do a whole lot with us as far as providing resources and stuff. So they have an entire on their website. They have an entire list of well-documented, peer-related or peer-reviewed sources and things like that. Different libraries across the state and across the country that kids can go to actually get legitimate material to research their topics too. So they're not missing anything when it comes to being able to get their hands on what they need to get their hands on.
I mean, things have changed so much. When Brad and I were in school, Kevin too, we didn't have access to what kids have access to now. When you did a book report, or you wrote a paper, you could only cite World Book Encyclopedia or Encyclopedia Britannica, or maybe the dictionary, or an article that you read in a magazine or a book in the library. And so now you've got the web is opened up to all this stuff. So.
Yeah, and we're lucky to have kind of the resources we have around the state, like the Indiana University, Hanover, Franklin, Purdue. All those universities are very good about opening up their online resources for National History Day for the kids across the state to be able to hop in and jump into their libraries and see what they have on some of these topics that the kids are looking up. So that's always a big help too.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it is interesting that the amount of peer-reviewed information that is available to junior high students, high school students, and things like that, that before you wouldn't have had access to any of that until you went to college, if you chose that way. So this is going to be a random question, but what type of format? Do they use APA to cite their sources, or do they get to choose what type of format?
No, NHD tells them that they have to use MLA.
MLA
is their formatting.
All right. That makes sense for that type of project. I'm sorry, that was a random
No, it's
question.
okay.
But it's like,
And they are sticklers. They figure out real quick. You know, the kids, by the time we get into like the week 3 of it, and it's starting to kind of all finish itself out, they're a little bit bored with the project. They're kind of over it at that point because they've spent so much time and energy on it. Designing the board and things like that's kind of the final push to get it done. But then seeing them at Franklin is a different experience because now they're presenting it. You know, now they're in front of adults that they don't know. They're having conversations. They're in some way trying to educate someone different on their topic, and that's when it kind of all comes to light for them. You can kind of see them get re-engaged and kind of really enjoy talking about their topic again, which is fun.
And what are the dates for? Where are you at in the process now?
We are between regional and state. So
Okay.
the regional competition was the 24th of
Okay.
February
Okay.
up at Franklin, and then the state competition's April 20th at Marion up in Indy.
And so, how many groups do you have?
We had
Still.
our group on Rosa Parks and the Montgomery bus boycott. They advanced. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, their group advanced. And my solo project on the invention of plastic, he advanced. So we've got 3 different projects going up to Marion on April the 20th. And I guess I should mention we had an 8th grade group also advance. They did Jackie Robinson and baseball.
Awesome. Awesome. They could the solo project. I wonder if they incorporated Toby Keith's song in that.
He did a nice job because that was the one that kind of was really, as far as turning points in history, I thought he was the one that kind of took the biggest jump or the biggest risk in his project because, you know, plastic is not something that's entirely brand new. But he was able to really kind of get pretty intricate in his topic and find some good resources about, you know, the different ideas behind how it was invented, the people who invented it, and then looking at the more modern day impact of plastic and what do we do with it once we're finished with it, how does it impact the environment and things like that. So that's kind of where he put his twist on things, and I think the judges that he was with really enjoyed you know, not only hearing the background information but also hearing about, you know, what are his short-term and long-term effects. I think are really what kind of drew people into his topic, so that was neat.
Now, are there other projects like this for science and, let's say, English or math? I know this is going back years ago, Mr. Mayfield had the Top Gun math, and I don't know if that's probably...
There's similar things out there.
Okay,
We also had students recently complete math counts, and we did have one student advance out of the original level to the next level. That's we'll be competing right around spring break in Terre Haute. So each subject area still has a lot of different contests and stuff. Some of them are local to us, some of them are a little further away, some of them are now web-based. But pretty much every subject still has something. Language arts still has a lot of poetry contests and different writings. So, and we're fortunate enough that we have a lot of staff members that take advantage of this and will volunteer their time and lead these groups. Like I said, I think History Day we've been going on probably 20 plus years. I know when I was still teaching, Deb, Ryan, and I, Deb was kind of really the founder of us getting involved in History Day, and I was kind of with it. And after Deb left, Derek kind of has taken it over at that point. So we've been doing History Day probably 20 plus years. Now we've scaled it back a little bit from what it used to be. We used to do the whole school. Every student in our building would do it. We had local judges come in, but as COVID came on, that made it a whole lot more difficult to get that many people in, and because we used to have 400 plus projects a year. You know, then we go back to Jim Mayfield's Zone with Bear with all the math stuff that we did, and this year Elizabeth Heitch and Rebecca Consley took on math counts for us. So we're starting to get ourselves back in from the COVID time and getting our kids more competing in some of those academic areas, which is really great because it's wonderful to see our kids, you know, celebrate these wins. Listen to them talk about History Day. You know, walking down the hallway and all of a sudden you hear kids talking about history. It's really cool, and you know, you see them get excited. And like I said, seeing them at the contest is always fun because that's kind of how that wraps them up. And you know, sometimes it's an eye opener because we've had some, you know, robotics, Rube Goldberg projects, and you know, we've learned a lot over the last couple of years when we went to compete because we've jumped in and you know, we've been new to it, and we've seen other schools that's been doing it for 10, 15 years. It's like, oh, that makes sense, and you kind of get those ideas from them. And as I just seeing all the projects and everything that's out there, it's really good for our kids and really kind of gets them motivated. Hopefully, takes them to the next level when it comes to doing their academic stuff.
So not only from a motivational standpoint, like these victories and doing well, what does that do for the program, for lack of a better way? What does that bring back to the school? How does that impact, with these kids and what's going on going forward? I mean, excitement level, does it open doors that maybe they didn't realize they had, or opportunities? What type of
I think
other benefits besides bragging rights? Which that's always good, but
And I think it does, because I think, obviously at the high school level, there's even more opportunities than there are at the middle school level. So we get some of you guys thinking about different clubs and different organizations, different things they can join as they get through. I mean, at the middle school, it's more bragging rights than anything else, and, getting a little recognition going on with that. But, as we've been updating our facility, especially with our new STEAM lab, we're really trying to, get kids going into the things that, really, because middle school has really always been more sports related, that, but now we're trying to really bring back the academic aspect of it, and, we're fortunate enough that we've had our STEAM lab has really helped out in a lot of areas, because every teacher in my building has been in the STEAM lab sometime this year doing a project with Miss Morgan, ranging from social studies to math. So, we're really trying to get kids encouraged to the academics, because ultimately, if we can get them engaged in middle school, they go to high school, hopefully that leads into trade school, college, or something for them to, really look forward to, or find that interest level and really push it. So middle school wise, it's more bragging rights, but hopefully it gets some of our kids excited about things that they can do in the future and looking at different endeavors that can be a part of.
Yeah. I'm so envious of kids today that with the advancements in education and the tools like the STEAM lab. I mean, when we were in middle school, we had shop, and I mean, Harry Baker was taught shop my first year, and then Neil Kenyon came on, and Mr. Kenyon had we did some drafting, and he also helped with a little newspaper back then, and then when there was a little computer that came out, he bought one and brought it in, and so we started learning about this computer. It was a little, it almost kind of looked like a little tablet. Then you had to hook it up to a monitor, and you just did basic programming on it. And then we got some boxes to move across the screen and thought we were just too cool. But now everything's just at such a higher level. I hope these kids really take advantage of everything that they've got, because the STEAM Center, this is like one of the best, or the best in the state.
Yeah, there's only three in our area, one up in Indian and one in Eminence, Kentucky. That's gonna be kind of tried to mirror our stuff around that, and again, trying to give our kids some advantages or some opportunities that we've not had the opportunity for. I mean, thankful for FEMA and Dr. Reed for getting this grant approved, because otherwise probably would never have been possible, because it's quite an expensive building.
Oh yeah.
And and it's great. We had potential severe weather last year. We had all three of our buildings were up and ready to roll if we needed at that point, and if we utilize all three, we can house a whole lot of people during some severe weather at this point.
The other we kind of dodged things the other night, but I'm sure with March just getting underway, we probably have, hopefully not, but there'll probably be some other opportunities. And now it used to be where it was just kind of in the springtime, but now we've got tornadoes in December and all the other months of the year. So
that's always interesting. So when you think about, sometimes not me, but some people out there go, history is boring. I mean, and they do. Not me, but no. I'm saying not me. No, I love the History Channel and all that. But but my point to that is it kind of cool to see these kids like that maybe going into this are like, history's not my thing, but the light bulbs go off and they just find stuff that's interesting to them.
Yeah, and that's kind of the beauty to this project, is it's not confined to a textbook. It's not confined to state standards necessarily. Like I said, they're allowed to do their project on whatever they want. If it is 100% about what we're covering in class, and we've talked about something that has kind of flipped a light bulb, flipped a switch for them, they're welcome to do that. But a lot of times it's stuff that they've learned in 6th grade. In some cases, like the Battle of Bunker Hill, it's something they're not going to learn until 8th grade. But they really do kind of get to go off on their own and run with whatever topic, whatever project they want to. And so there's a vested interest in the topic. And to me, when you can give a kid a little bit of leash and let them pick what they want to learn, which I think, you know, we're at a point in education where it's, you got to stick to a schedule so much that letting them kind of get off schedule, so to speak, and take a topic and run with it for 3 or 4 weeks, they really do kind of start to own it a little bit. And giving a kid that ownership of a project or their own learning does kind of make it a lot better for them, and that's the fun part to watch. Is in some cases, you know, like the smallpox vaccine, that group starting off knowing little to nothing other than what they knew about the COVID vaccine. You know, going back to that part in their short history, you know, they were able to pick apart articles, look up different doctors, going back to how the vaccine worked and how they incorporated cowpox into trying to figure out the smallpox vaccine. And so being able to watch them relay that information to another adult, you know, that's not the teacher, not somebody from the building, is kind of fun.
Yeah.
It really is.
And to think about, and I'm glad you mentioned that specifically, because, you know, you think about their wheelhouse is the COVID vaccine, but doing something else. The technology difference just between that vaccine and where medicine is today is just astronomical, the differences. So I think that would be a cool thing to just the technological differences that go into, you know, it was difficult work. It's not, it's still difficult work, but back then it's like me and Greg, you know, we had the clay tablets and the chisels and all of that, you know, and now they have Chromebooks. So
We talked about those too just a couple of weeks ago, the clay tablets and the chisels. But no, I think when you're in the classroom setting and, you know, you're being taught something out of the textbook, or you're lecturing and you're taking notes, and then you're doing projects and assignments, and, you know, what you're being taught is kind of being, I don't want to say forced, but you know that it's something that I have to learn, right? And you can take the have to learn and
absolutely.
the I get to learn
Two totally
about
different
something.
things.
You know, history is now no longer boring.
yeah.
And when you've got such a wide scope of topics that you can pick from, you know, when you're not narrow-minded and kind of, you know, stuck in a certain lane of history, and you've got a lot to choose from, it makes it even more enjoyable.
I'm still waiting on them to come up with a fun way for math.
Is there a fun way for math, really?
I don't know. Well, there were Gary Mizak made math fun, but just because of this story time in his class. In high school there was a Mr. Davis. Do you remember Mr. Davis? He was taught calculus for maybe a couple years. And Mr. Jones was just chemistry, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I only got to experience him through chess club. I think Mr. Kenyon did some chess too.
Yep, he did.
So education now just seems a lot more fun than it used to be, and especially giving the kids a little bit of choice into what they're doing, because that's and I'm sure as a teacher you can see a night and day difference in work that you got to do, and something that it's
you really
interesting
can. You really
to
can.
do. So that's awesome. How long have you been at the middle school, Derek?
This is year 10 for me.
Oh wow, okay. And Kevin, how long have you been?
I'm year 25 in education, so you know I've been at the middle school, elementary, and the high school, and back to the middle school. So I'm year 25 at Salem.
All right. Then in high school, did you know that that's something you wanted to get into?
No. Originally, I went to IU to be an accountant.
Okay.
And quickly realized that I didn't want to be an accountant. So I married an accountant. So.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe you can't be one.
So when you were in school, Derek, did you know all the time you wanted to be an educator?
No, not entirely. I started out sports marketing business major in school, and just so happened that freshman year of college I got the opportunity. Somebody asked if I would like to coach their kids' 5th grade AAU travel basketball team, and jumped into that and enjoyed it, and soon thereafter switched majors to education, and then I got rolling down this path. So it took me, I was 19 I think when I switched majors, and and started down this road. So it was not an immediate thing, but I kind of found a passion and enjoyment in it, and here we are.
How did you choose? I'm going to put both of you on the spot. Whoever can. How did you choose what you decided to be? That's what I want to teach.
Well, for me, I kind of the same way. I was at college, and Derek Smith asked me to come back and help with baseball one year when I was back over the summer to like a summer program, and that got me really engaged in working with kids. But I took a different route because I'm actually elementary certified, and I also have my kindergarten endorsement. So back then, of course, back in the early 90s, you didn't have many male elementary teachers, or that was thing, and so I kind of went that direction because I really like little kids. My mom had a little daycare center, and I was around those guys. So, but I also got a social studies endorsement, so I'm also a history teacher too. And then I found my passion at the middle school level, and that's the area that I enjoy teaching the most. I love working with all levels, but if I was back in the classroom, middle school is where I'd want to be with that.
Okay. Yeah, and I chose middle school kind of for the same reason. I think it's an interesting clientele, or an interesting group of kids. I would say sixth graders, they come in and you spend the first 9 weeks or so, they're a little timid still, and you can really kind of impress upon them rules and a good foundation. Seventh graders, they kind of start to find themselves as middle schoolers a little bit, and then the eighth graders, they're in the kind of that transition phase where they're not high schoolers yet, but they kind of think they are. But there's also a different level of maturity that you see kids transition through from 7th grade to 8th grade too. And I think for me it was the ability to come in and kind of have a positive influence on some of these guys, just because there's not some of us, they don't always have that at home.
Yeah.
And so being able to kind of be a positive influence for those guys, and I think like I said, it's an impressionable age. And I think if you can have a kid come in at 6th grade, leave in 8th grade with a good foundation and good head on their shoulders, I think we're setting ourselves up to have a pretty good person, and they're setting themselves up for a pretty good future. So for me, that's where it was at. And social studies was always my favorite subject in school, and so I figured if I'm going to teach, I might as well teach what I liked, and hopefully be able to kind of put that into the kids a little bit too.
Awesome. What would you have taught, Brad, if you were going to be a teacher?
Math.
Math?
No, seriously. Yeah. So, little trivia for you. I don't think everybody. I think Becky knows, but that's actually I got my degree. I was a math teacher for 3 years, and then changed my career goals. Not to get away from teaching or anything like that, but I had the opportunity to become to write training programs for a private company, and so that was really that aspect was the reason that I decided to do that, because I still got to do the teaching aspect, and that led to HR, and here we are. 15 years. I say 15 years later, but
did you teach around here?
Bloomington South.
Did you? Mm-hmm. Oh, really? Oh. Oh. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd kind of always wanted to teach at college, to be an English professor, but I'd had enough after I wanted to do something else. So, but I think people that, all of us can look back to teachers that have impacted our lives.
Absolutely.
And I hope those people. I hope that's still continuing. The environment with kids and education's kind of changed since we've been in school, but I hope. You guys are. Do you see kids? Do you see lights coming on and things are clicking?
I don't think either one of us would probably be sitting here if we hadn't had a handful of teachers that influenced us positively in one way or another.
Sure.
And I think that's kind of the mission of all of us in the building, is to make sure that we can kind of pay that forward to the kids that we've got now, and the light bulb moments just make it that much better.
Yeah.
I think you come in sometimes just wanting to hopefully be a positive influence in one person's day in the building, but if you can have a light bulb moment that goes off, and you notice that they're picking up on something, or oh my gosh, we've written an entire paragraph today, or Johnny in the back answered 2 or 3 questions today, and was locked in and paid attention. Sometimes that's a win in and of itself, and it does kind of validate the job, and makes you go home pretty happy at the end of the day.
And that kid 10, 15 years later, you see comes back and is maybe a teacher or and comes back and says, hey, you really influenced what I'm doing now. And that's, I know that's not maybe the whole thing you're after, but that's a nice part.
Well, and sometimes it's not just about the grade at the end of the 9 weeks or at the end of the semester. Sometimes it's that type of transformation as well.
Yeah.
Well, you spoke earlier, Derek, about like, you know, the impacts that you can have that on some of the students that may not get that from home. And I think it's important to realize that even those small impacts, especially at middle school level, this is just my view from that middle school level, you can change the trajectory like in amazing ways, but small ways, if that makes sense. When, you know, the little things of, hey, there is someone on my side, because sometimes a little later it's harder to convince that, hey, I'm in your corner,
right?
You know, and or they view, well, it's too late. It's I'll never have whatever. But I think it's important to think about that. It doesn't have to be the huge gestures. It's the everyday, hey, how you doing today? Celebrating that Johnny answered a question, and then, you know, those small things change trajectories massively. And I think that's always interesting to me, and how you know, you just go, well, and like you guys here are humble about what you do, but there are people out there that say, you know, if I hadn't had Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so, I would not be standing here today. My life would be drastically different. And I think we need to embrace that and celebrate that. I think educators are underappreciated all the way around.
I know. I mean, I've not been a sub teacher or anything, but I just from our own children and the things that went on in schools, I'd say that teachers are severely underpaid most days. Probably in the admin too. Just because anything that has, it's a trickle up effect in school. Anything that happens goes up the chain. So now we were talking earlier about the eclipse. Is you guys doing anything at school? I mean, I think you're going to hold kids, or no, you're going to dismiss early. No.
We're having that day off. We
we
arranged our calendar for.
Okay.
We had a built-in snow day.
Okay.
And so we arranged our calendar so the kids will have the opportunity to be off that day to enjoy it, and you know, and take on festivities with their families and that kind of stuff. So
I didn't check. It's a different school system, but maybe that 17-year-old is out of school that day. I better be checking.
Yeah, you might.
I might want to check. There may be a party at the house. I don't know.
Well,
that's terrible parenting right there. I apologize. So
they used to have senior skip day. You remember senior skip? I don't know.
No,
they don't have that. They probably don't do that anymore. Do they?
So, what kind of stuff do they get when they win? Do they get a trophy? Do they get, you know?
So it depends on what level you're at.
Okay.
So we'll kind of start there.
The swag, that's what I'm asking about. Yeah.
Yeah, what do I get to take home?
Yeah.
What are you going to give me? Is the question. Kids that advance from the regional, they get a competition medal. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets a certificate of participation at the regional level. The state level is really where you kind of get a chance to get more stuff. There are built-in monetary awards also. So depending on the year's theme, and depending on what topic it is that you research, if your topic applies to one of the monetary prizes, then you do qualify to win somewhere between $500 and $1,000. The state level, obviously, I've never seen a student advance out of there, so I can't speak necessarily to what exactly they get, but I would assume some sort of trophy, medal, something along those lines. But the big thing is making it out of state, making it to nationals, where you do get a chance at a scholarship. And so that's kind of the big driving motivator for kids, especially at the high school level, is to make sure that you're doing a project that can put you in a position to advance, and then to hopefully go on and get that scholarship. The exhibits are always kind of the big topic, because you can put pictures on it, and you can kind of put your own twist on it. The kids can kind of make it their own. But in all fairness, writing a research paper is arguably the easiest way to advance through NHD, because there are so few kids that choose to write a research paper that, number one, it's almost a given to advance out of regional, and then you get a chance to critique it and refine it between regional and state. That after the editing process is finished, you take it to state, and the likelihood of advancing to nationals is even higher. And we've had a few people locally that have advanced to nationals through writing a research paper and doing different projects other than just the normal exhibit.
Now, can they, if that exhibit goes on, can they make changes to that as well? Okay.
Yeah. So between now and April the 20th, our groups that advance, they'll be making critiques and putting some different stuff on their board. They all get papers from judges. So there are 3 judges per group, and then they all get back their information. They get back their scores, and each judge gives them a list of things that they could do better on. They get a list of things that they feel like they excelled on with their project, and then they get to come home and kind of not so much completely redo it, but make necessary adjustments. Yeah.
Okay. Now, your history class, you're what did you say, 7th?
7th grade. Yeah.
7th and 7th. Do they do any of the components in middle school? Do they do any local history, or what era of history are you guys?
So for 7th grade, we are all Eastern Hemisphere.
Okay.
So we have Africa, Asia, Australia are our points of emphasis.
Okay.
8th grade is when they tie in local history.
Okay.
So Salem, Washington County, Indiana history, and then they jump into pre-Civil War, pre-Reconstruction is their focus.
Okay. So there's a kind of a cohesion between going through elementary or 4th, 5th grade maybe, and then up through high school. Because I know that you get into high school and you get more into world history and
yeah, and I'm kind of the one outlier in the building. 6th grade does Western, so they do Europe, South America, United States, North America, and then that kind of ties in a little bit more directly to 8th grade, and then that ties more directly into the stuff you learn in high school. But my grade and then freshman year are kind of the 2 outliers as far as the entire corporation.
So
and how the social studies department works.
What's freshman? What do they do?
World geography.
Okay. I was never much on.
So it's a little closer to my content than the other areas.
Okay. Awesome. Well, this History Day contest is extremely cool, and we hope we wish everybody well. Let us know, please, how everybody does. It would be yeah. I think Becky would like to maybe get the kids in. Sure.
Yeah, it's always good to put them on the spot and to hear them talk about the process.
We'll cross our fingers and hope that some of them do well up there. It's always interesting too, because you get 2 different sides. There's always the groups that think, well, we're not doing very well and our project looks terrible, and then there's the groups that think, oh well, we're killing this thing and our project looks awesome. And then you get them to the regional level where there's everybody's project. The overwhelming amount of kids were from Plainfield this year, Plainfield High School. There were some kids from Mitchell, some kids from Brown County, 1 kid from Carmel, and a couple from Bloomington that were there. And you get a pretty good idea of kind of how everybody stacks up there. And the groups that don't think they did very well realize that we're pretty much kind of all in a very similar space here. You know, we're kind of all on the same page with our projects. There's not a whole lot. There's always 2 or 3 that kind of stand out amongst the group, but for the most part, all the projects, the kids all do kind of very similar work. So even the ones that don't feel very good about their project realize, like, hey, we did okay on this.
Well, I think it's always interesting in things like that in the competitions when you see that, you know, Salem school system can compete with any school in the state, you know, and we prepare our kids here just as well as, you know, some of the schools that have 3 times the money and things like that. And I always think that that's interesting too. And it's always good to go and say, oh, but yeah, Salem's got some good kids coming every year. So I think that's always kind of, you know, bragging rights. We like that. We like to win. We like to brag. So not in a bad way, bragging in a good way.
Yeah. moving, you were talking earlier too about spring sports. That would be track,
Middle school golf.
golf.
And that's our two biggies. And then we also have club, which is not school affiliated, baseball and club softball that our kids participate in at that level.
Okay. But they've probably had some days where they've been out getting ready for track.
Just starting to get started because our last winter event is tomorrow night. I'm supposed to have a home wrestling match, middle school wrestling match against Bedford tomorrow night. That'll be our kind of our wrapping up of our winter season.
Okay.
So they're just starting to get, I say conditioning time is what they started doing. So I know girls track started yesterday for the first conditioning day. Golf's had a meeting. So
it's always good out and start shaking the winter off, right?
Yeah. I guess tennis has been. They've been doing some tennis conditioning. They've been able to get outside because it has been pretty nice over the last week or so.
Yeah, and I hope that continues. I think our temperature's going to dip for a few days, and then hopefully we'll be back up in the 60s. And looking at the 30-day forecast, it looks like we're talking about the eclipse on Monday the 8th. It'll be 65. But what we're really looking for is what the cloud cover is going to be.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on that. Even the National Weather Service has got a special thing, and they don't show anything yet. So they said that they would try to start in another couple of weeks. So
yeah,
we'll keep an eye on that.
Weather is always changing.
Daily eclipse report. So if you do go outside to watch it, which I encourage you to do, just make sure you have your glasses and keep those on until it's covered, and then you can take them off for a couple of minutes and then put them back on. But the whole thing lasts about 3 hours. So a lot of people think it's just the coverage, but you could kind of make a day of it. It's if you've never seen one, this is going to be your chance. So the next one's not till 2045, I think. So hopefully
a while down the road.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be around. There's a lunar eclipse here in a couple of weeks, so I'm gonna try to. My goal is to hook got a camera for the telescope and to stream the eclipse using the telescope. And so I'm going to try to, when the lunar eclipse here in another couple of weeks, I'm going to try it out with that and see how it works. So I've done some pictures, and you have to do a lot of post-processing. I hope that's not the case with it, doing something live. So anyway, we'll see.
That'll be fun.
See how it works out. And that goes back to Dan Mullins. Dan Mullins, his interest in astronomy, that's what kind of got me interested. And I took some classes at IU, and they built one of the big telescopes over in Hawaii. I had a chance to go over there, and I was kind of chicken about, I don't want to fly all the way over there. But looking back, there's opportunities that you should have taken, and that's probably one of them. But anyway, oh well.
Again, thank a teacher.
Yeah.
So these things.
Oh yeah. I got the chance before Mr. Beckman. I got to talk to him, Miss Apple, or Miss Bedwell, sorry, who just passed, and I got to talk to a lot of them. Miss Geely was an old teacher, and Mr. Ritz, I still see him every once in a while.
I see him every once in a while.
Yeah. So there were a lot of good teachers. And there are a lot of good teachers now. And you think it's easier to be a teacher now with all the resources that you have, or do you think it might have been less? I don't know if it was less complicated.
I would say yes and no to that. I think sometimes it is easier when you're doing research because you got a lot more accessibility to things.
Yeah.
But that also makes things harder at times because social media can play a big part in a lot of things, and helping kids understand what is good sources, what's bad sources, what's true, what's made up, it can be a little bit more of a challenge nowadays too. Where, back when I first started teaching, you didn't have that. Yeah. You pretty much had access to good sources and didn't have all the other stuff going on with that.
Yeah.
So just even like in the last 5 years, how would you compare what social media impacts are now on how you teach as compared to just 5 years ago?
I don't know if the social media impact is so much on how I teach. I think it's how we have to go about handling kids in different situations and things like that. Just because now we all have immediate access with a phone, and so trying to mitigate some of those things that can become a hassle. The access to information and things like that, I think as that grows, access to information is never a bad thing. And our job, to Kevin's point, is making sure that we can educate kids on what is an accurate source versus what is an inaccurate source. What's a primary source, secondary source? Is this good information? Is this something that's upfront? Is this an honest article? Or, as we read through this, is this something that's probably just made up and not something that we should use? So, I mean, the teaching to that point, to me, is no different than maybe it's ever been. There's just more that you have to sift through. The social media aspect, I don't envy Kevin's position at all. From the teacher standpoint, the social media stuff really doesn't knock on my door too hard. I know it does more so on the administrative side of things. But I don't think the social media aspect has affected teaching so much as it has affected probably the policy side of things as probably more so that way.
So have you, as an administrator, have you seen to where maybe social media is kind of backing off a little bit, that kids are not as impacted by it in a negative way, or do you think it just has ebb and flows?
I think it varies off and on. I mean, different apps, different things come into play, and the reality, how good they are, how bad they are, what impact they have, and and like I said, this makes it easier for kids to find ways to, I say, not get in trouble, but there's just things out there that that is kind of scary for kids at times, and again, educating us teachers, is educating them on when to be alarmed and when not to be alarmed about things, and when to question. I think it's become a challenge. I said it makes it easier in some ways for people just to say anything they want to, because when you're hiding behind a screen, it's a lot easier to say something than when you're face to face with someone. So it just creates some of that flexibility, I guess, for some people, and just trying to figure out, because when someone's upset or ranting, it's easy to rant something, and then once you send it out there, it's hard to take it back. And so, back in the day, we'd have to rant to each other and then kind of go through with it. So I do think it's created some of those, some of that things there. But like I said, you more look nationally and you see a lot of the, I'm going to say the scary, because we always see the scary part of it on news. Mm-hmm. You never see the good aspects of it. Yeah. So you always see the scary things, and they're out there, but they've always been out there, just in different facets. And now, with accessibility, everything is, we always see all negatives, and they don't really focus on the positive aspects of it. And as educators, that's our goal is to reflect on that positive stuff and help kids understand, hey, these tools are here for you. You really can go somewhere with them.
Yeah, and I think the reason I was asking that is because I've noticed with G, it's 6 months ago, I was on social media a lot more, and I don't know if that's just getting the age and other things on his mind about getting ready for the next level, next steps, or whatever, but there's just not. So it's always like when you try to navigate through that, it's like, well, is it winding down, or do they get numb to it? Do they just kind of get bored with it until the next platform?
I think it's the instant access to stuff. When I can open up my phone and in a matter of seconds get every single news update I need, or scroll through my feed. I think at some point, especially at a younger age, when their attention spans are so short, that there is a little bit of a brain drain, I think, so to speak, and stuff like that. And I think they are a little bit more willing now to put some of that stuff to the side, because they're waiting, like you said, for the next thing to come along, and they get bored with what's currently in front of them.
I don't know that the attention span gets any better as you get older.
What? What were you talking about? Yeah.
But yeah, it's it would. I often think, how would the teachers we had 30 years ago handle cell phones and social media?
Oh, I know how a couple would.
There were broken phones.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is a big no-no now, but anyway, especially when they're $1,000. I'm glad we didn't have them in the 80s, because might not be here now. Probably a good thing. Back then you could claim hearsay. You can't do it anymore.
Didn't happen.
I have
yeah.
a screenshot.
But I think it's interesting how we as adults we go through the cycle too. Like, you know, some jobs, like your phone is like part of your job, you know, and things like that. You know, I'll use myself for an example. It's like there's times that, depending on who it is, it's like if they send me a message, I got to be on that message right away, and then sometimes not. So,
Right.
But you look at that, and it's just like, and then we get on to the kids about, well, you shouldn't, you know, pay attention to this phone, but we show them a different example sometimes. You know, it's not everything, but there's a lot to this. So I don't know.
And yesterday, when Facebook was off for a couple hours, that was probably a calm period or two.
In theory, we knock on wood. Those are supposed to stay in their locker, but
Yeah.
and that, to me, that's the part of teaching too. Is, you know, is it a tool or is it a distraction? And being able to kind of sift through the difference between those two things can be quite stark too. That, you know, being able to guide them through some of that stuff and life lessons. And
Do many kids? I know you've got Chromebooks. Do they carry those with them to most classes, or is that something they just normally use?
This year we kind of took a different philosophy on that, because last couple of years with COVID, you know, they went home. Well, we had a hard time keeping our Chromebooks in good shape. I mean, they get broken.
Yeah.
I mean, just if you put them in a car every day, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So this year we kind of kept Chromebooks in the classrooms and allowed kids to check them out if they need to from the library. And I think for us, I think for the teachers, it's been a good choice on our part, because they have working Chromebooks in their classroom pretty much every day if they need them. And we're not worried about, oh, it's in somebody's locker, or I left it in my brother's car, or my sibling, we traded Chromebooks, or any of that kind of stuff. So we just kind of took a different philosophy of that, because the Chromebook screens are not always the most, I mean, they get broke pretty easily at times, and so we kind of just changed that, our idea behind that, and I think for the most part, it's worked out. I mean, you know, we always have to be careful about the weather, because, you know, we got to be proactive. If we know weather's coming, we need to send Chromebooks home with the students that need one. But we also found out that I'd say about 75 to 80% of our kids have access to something they can work on at home via a Chromebook, if it's an iPad or a phone or a laptop.
This is access through Google Classroom or something?
Yeah. So that's the reason we changed that, just to try to make the Chromebooks last a little bit longer, longevity of them, and just ensure that all the classrooms have enough working Chromebooks to function for that day.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you guys coming in and letting us know about National History Day, and we hope that the kids do well next month. And Derek, keep doing a good job. And
will do. Thank you.
And Kevin,
thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for what you do to keep the middle school going every day.
Appreciate it. So.
And Brad, we've got Easter and
we've got it all. We've got everything.
So when are the trees and plants and stuff coming in?
In the next couple of weeks.
Really?
Yeah. We'll have a lot of stuff set right before Easter, which Easter is early this year. So for some of the plants, depending on the area that they can be grown in and when you can get them out. But we've already got bulbs and things like that. We've got all the soils. We've got stuff to get that you can go ahead and do now. But the plants and containers and stuff like that, they'll be in sometime before Easter, just to make sure that a lot of folks, not just for Mother's Day, but for Easter, they like to do arrangements of Easter flowers and stuff like that for their, you know, moms, grandmas.
We always get in trouble because we get a few nice days and think, oh, we're going to put some stuff out, and then we get frost and lose it. So
yeah,
the rule used to be to wait till Derby Day, I thought.
Yeah.
To do a lot of things, but we get antsy and
yep.
And then hopefully the weather will be nice.
You can get your onions in the ground, you know. So those are fine. Those are bulbs, so you're good there. So anyway, yeah. But we've got it all. We've got it all for you. So we're ready to go.
Awesome. All right. Brad, would you read our sponsors?
Yeah, we've got Meadowview Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Americans for Prosperity, Mama Rose's, Fox for Lee Wealth Management, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, Windhorse for Home, Paoli and English, and McAllister Land Consulting. Thank you, sponsors.
All right. Well, we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you guys again for coming in. Have a wonderful day.
Planning to buy some land or build a new home or maybe put up a fence? Do you know your property lines? Are you in a floodplain? When it comes to surveying your property, call someone you can trust with years of experience. That's McAllister Land Consulting. Call 812-274-0860, providing fast, friendly service at reasonable rates. McAllister Land Consulting can provide a wide range of services, including residential and commercial certified land surveys, flood elevation certificates, and land usage consulting. Get to know your property. Call McAllister Land Consulting for a free quote today at 812-274-0860.
The world's biggest bourbon and music festival, Bourbon and Beyond 2024. A perfect blend of bourbon, culinary, and music with Zach Bryan, Dave Matthews Band, Tyler Childers, Neil Young, Beck, and Louisville's own My Morning Jacket, Matchbox 20, Cody Jinks, Maren Morris, The Head and Heart, Tedeschi Trucks Band, The National, Whiskey Myers, Chris Isaac, Young the Giant, Teddy Swims, Milky Chance, and more. September 19th through 22nd in Louisville, Kentucky. Single day and weekend passes, camping and hotel packages. On sale now at bourbonandbeyond.com.
Caring people make the difference. You can feel it the minute you walk into Salem Crossing. The experts in long-term care, not just doing a job, but following a calling. They're here to help you and your family find answers and solutions and peace of mind. In fact, they become an extension of your family. For more information about Salem Crossing, visit ASCSSeniorCare.com or call 812-883-1877. That's 812-883-1877.
Which is best, white chili or red chili? Bring your appetite and your opinion to the AWC Chili Cook-Off March 11th from 4 to 7 at Southern Hills Church. Tickets are available at the door. Only $5 for adults and $3 for children. If your own chili recipe is killer, then sign up to compete. Call 812-216-6505 for a registration form, or download the form from awarenesswashingtoncounty.org. There is no fee to enter, and you have the chance to win cash prizes for Best Red Chili, Best White Chili, People's Choice Best Chili, and Best Decorated Booth. Hope to see you March 11th.
Do you wonder what it would be like to live without hip or knee pain? Joint replacement at Schneck Orthopedics and Sports Medicine makes it easier than you think. Schneck is proud to be one of the first in the region to offer Mako robotic arm assisted joint replacement surgery. This latest advancement transforms the way joint replacements are performed. Mako allows your surgeon to provide you with a personalized surgical experience based on your specific diagnosis and anatomy. This means less soft tissue damage and greater bone preservation, less blood loss, less pain, fewer days in the hospital, and faster recovery. Taking a walk, riding a bike, and playing with your grandchildren. These are just a few of the simple joys in life. But for those with bone and joint pain, these simple joys are often too painful or unbearable to truly enjoy. With Mako robotic arm-assisted surgery at Schneck, you can get back to the activities you enjoy. Learn more at SchneckOrtho.com.
Hello, Salem and Washington County. Are you ready to design your dream living space? This is Alyssa with Windhorse for the Home in Paoli. With a short drive to Paoli, you can have all the products and services to make your vision come to life. We stock a wide selection of high-quality furniture for your home like Ashley and Catnapper. We also offer brand-name appliances such as Speed Queen, Whirlpool, and Maytag. At Windhorse for the Home, we can help make your house a home with easy financing, free delivery, and free in-home setup. Let me help design the home of your dreams. Windhorse for the Home, located in Paoli, Indiana, 812-723-3535. Now serving Salem and Washington County.
Give Du Bois County Tire a call. Big or small, they service all. They have the name brand tires, you know, to keep you cruising on down the road. They got tires for driving me. They even got them for your farm machine. You can call them day or night. Du Bois County Tire does it right. Big or small, we service all. Du Bois County Tire.
See your Michelin dealer today for the Michelin Defender tire. It's the tire that delivers what you want. Outstanding safety, more miles and fuel efficiency, all backed by an 80,000-mile limited warranty. Don't sacrifice. Ask for the Michelin Defender tire today at your local Michelin dealer. Find the right Michelin tire and get the expert service you deserve at DuBois County Tire and Supply in Jasper, Davis County Tire and Supply in Washington, and Knox County Tire and Supply in Vincennes. See manufacturer's limited warranty book for details.
Big or small, we service all. DuBois County Tire.
Indiana's going to win it, and they have won it! 5 times national champions, 22 conference championships. 3 on the way. Yes! 17 Big Ten Players of the Year.
Throws up a shot.
High, hit it again! 7 basketball Hall of Famers and countless memories on the court.
Trace puts it up. Oh, got it! What a spin move!
This is Indiana Hoosiers basketball.
Introduce your family and friends to one of Salem's oldest traditions, home cooking from Mama Rosa's in Salem. Whether you're getting that one-of-a-kind tasting pizza, baked spaghetti, hot sandwiches, or a variety of other Italian food and artisan pizzas, Mama Rosa's has something for everyone. Open Tuesday through Thursday 4 to 9 for dining and carry-out, Fridays and Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sundays from 11 to 9. Mama Rosa's brings their famous pizza buffet to you on Fridays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for just $10.99. Choose from a wide variety of pizzas, homemade soups, and a large salad bar with their homemade potato salad, slaw, and desserts. Then come back for Friday night's home-style buffet from 4:30 to 8 or 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sundays for $12.99, where you'll find a variety of good home-cooked foods. Stop in and see Joanne and her family at Mama Rosa's and make some new memories or relive your childhood with that one-of-a-kind taste. Dine in or call 812-883-6296 to take the great taste of Mama Rosa's pizza home with you.
Was just a stick shift back when you took a pic and didn't have to post it. Back when a Baptist church is where we learned to sing. Yeah, we did. I could use some back then right now. 98 Chevy with the tailgate down. FM only with the gold of a loud. Burning up the night. Then I said, wow. I could use a little more wide open. Back when all I wanted was the hand I was holding. Living in the moment with a good time crowd. Making life count. Damn, I could use a little more back then, right now. Back then, right now. Back when a how you been came through a phone call. Back when a pastime was watching baseball. Yeah, back when politics, it wasn't table talk. Back when you had a fight, you could just walk it off. I could use some back then, right now. 98 Chevy with the tailgate down. FM only with the gold of a loud. Burning up the night. Then I said, wow. I could use a little more wide open. Back when all I wanted was the hand I was holding. Living in the moment with a good time crowd. Making life count. Damn, I could use a little more back then, right now. Back then, right now. Back then it was simple, it was slow. We didn't worry about what we didn't know. I could use some back then, right now. 98 Chevy with the tailgate down. FM only with the gold of a loud. Burning up the night. Innocent, wow. I could use a little more wide open. Back when all I wanted was the hand I was holding. Living in the moment with a good time crowd. Making life count. Damn, I could use a little more back then, right now. Back then, right now. Yeah, back then, right now. Back then, right now. Just a little more back then now.
My Country, 1220 AM.
couple beautiful girls tell me goodbye. Trucks break down, dogs run off, politicians lie, been fired by the boss. It takes one hand to count the things I can count on. No, there ain't much man that ain't ever let me down. Long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart. Like diamond rings and football teams have torn this boy apart. Like a neon dream, it just dawned on me that bars in this guitar. And long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart. She was a Carolina blue jean baby, fire in her eyes that drove me crazy. It was red tail lights when she left town. If I didn't know then, I sure know now. But long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart. Like diamond rings and football teams have torn this boy apart. Like a neon dream, it just dawned on me that bars in this guitar. And long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart. Cause long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart. Like diamond rings and football teams have torn this boy apart. Like a neon dream, it just dawned on me that bars in this guitar. And long neck, ice cold beer never broke my heart. No, it never broke my heart.
Couldn't make you jealous if I tried. You couldn't care less if I stayed out all night. I don't even look into your eyes, 'cause the truth is I don't even care if you're lying. In this bed we might as well be across the ocean tonight. We don't yell, 'cause what the hell difference would it make? We don't cuss and we don't care enough to even hate. We could tear up the house, we could burn the whole thing down, but boy, what for? 'Cause we don't even fight anymore. The only time we ever touch is in the hall. We talk about the weather if we talk at all. If your phone rings in the middle of the night, I don't even try to look to see who's calling. I had a bad day, but you don't know it, 'cause you don't ask and I don't show it. We don't yell, 'cause what the hell difference would it make? We don't cuss and we don't care enough to even hate. We could tear up the house, we could burn the whole thing down, but boy, what for? 'Cause we don't even fight wouldn't make. We don't cuss and we don't care enough to even hate. We could tear up a house, we could burn the whole thing down, but boy, what for? 'Cause we don't even fight anymore. No, we don't
It's Carly Pierce with Chris Stapleton. We don't fight anymore. I'm Kent Stevens. So a lot of country stars love to play golf. Morgan Wallen's pretty good. You got Vince Gill, one of the classic artists. Hardy, he plays, although he says over the past year he hasn't gotten to play very much.
So I've only played one round of golf, and it was at the Waste Management Pro-Am, and we only played 7 holes because we got rain/hailed on. But I was 1 under through 7 holes, which was very shocking for me.
Hardy's song Truck Band is coming up. Progressive Insurance. Protect your home and auto. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at Progressive.com.
We could try to explain what it feels like to get your work done on a John Deere. The way a Z-Track mower finishes in half the time you thought it would. Or how much easier it is to move mountains of soil with the 1 Series tractor. We could even go into detail about how it feels to tow up to 4,000 pounds behind a Gator XUV. But if you really want to know what it's like to run with us, you just have to get in the seat. Learn more at johndeere.com/get-in-the-seat or visit a dealer near you.
You've got enough to deal with in the morning. Alarm clock, showers, putting on clothes, going places. Taco Bell breakfast gives your morning something simple and tasty, like the sausage breakfast crunch wraps, fluffy eggs, melty cheese, and savory sausage. Or the oozy goodness of Cinnabon Delights, a crispy hash brown on the side and a bold cup of coffee. Morning will never be simple, but breakfast can be. Get a simple and tasty breakfast at Taco Bell, served until 11 a.m. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations while supplies last. Contact local store for hours which vary.
My Country, 12:20 a.m.
Caring people make the difference. You can feel it the minute you walk into Salem Crossing. The experts in long-term care, not just doing a job, but following a calling. They're here to help you and your family find answers and solutions and peace of mind. In fact, they become an extension of your family. For more information about Salem Crossing, visit ASCSSeniorCare.com or call 812-883-1877. That's 812-883-1877.
You and your family deserve to get out of the house, and Carlos Bravo and his family are waiting for you at El Camino with fresh, hot food just for you. There's no better place to bring the family to celebrate the weekend, a birthday, or just have a great meal of some of the best Mexican food around. And if you're really celebrating, try their new Margarita Towers. Who doesn't love tacos? El Camino's is the best place to eat tacos, and if you're trying to do a little better this year, they have some low-carb options like the keto tacos with chicken or steak in a delicious cheese shell topped with fresh avocado, or the equally delicious burrito bowl. Carlos and his family know your family deserves some time out, so head over to 403 South Main Street in Salem. Call ahead at 812-586-0199 for carryout, or dine inside or outside on the patio. There's a full bar and daily food and drink specials. Try El Camino's today for good food that's hot and fresh every time, and the best place in Kentuckiana to eat tacos.
Arrested for sex trafficking. I'm Sasha Nixon. You're listening to Network Indiana. A man has been arrested after police say he threatened and trafficked a woman and her daughter. Gregory Marsh was arrested in Van Buren Friday and taken to the Grant County Jail. Police say he met the Venezuelan woman online, so he sponsored a work visa in order to get her and her daughter to the United States. But once they arrived, officers believe he repeatedly threatened them with injury and deportation. The man is now facing charges for crimes including promotion of human sexual trafficking and criminal confinement. They were up to no good on department technology. Harrison Silcox reports on 5 Greenwood police officers who were off the force.
The Greenwood Police Department's hired Dolan Consulting Group to look into accusations of officers using department laptops to send messages that contained racial slurs and sexually explicit language. The results of that investigation, which you can find on the department's website,